Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Got a lot I want to talk about today. A lot of news to go through as well on today's show. So we got some news, we got some views as always. I guess we'll kick off and get talking about the two men on the thumbnail because fundamentally, I guess this is what the uncertainty at Manchester United is coming down to. The future is uncertain at Manchester United. If you want your snapshot, if you want your headline, that's what I'm saying. That's what reading between the lines is going to say. Because right now, at this moment in time, it's uncertain as to what's going to happen with Erik Ten Hag's long-term future. Will he be the manager next season? Will he be sacked by the end of the season? Will it be a mutual termination? Will it be Nagelsmann coming in the summer? Will it be De Zerbi perhaps? Graham Potter has turned down the Ajax job this week. Is something in the works there potentially? It's interesting. It's an uncertain time for Manchester United, for Manchester United fans. And I guess it all comes down to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And ultimately it's going to come down to the men that he has appointed to take our club forward. The Omar Baradas, the Dan Ashworth, soon to be, the Jason Wilcox, soon to be. And it is going to be down to that structure, that sporting structure who we have brought in. I am here to say that it is a fairly uncertain time if you're Erik Ten Hag. Now, there's conflicting reports. Some media outlets are saying Ten Hag's going to get sacked. Others are saying that nothing's decided. Others says that there's going to be time given to Erik Ten Hag, that Ineos want to keep him. Some people are saying Gareth Southgate's starting in the morning. But I guess the thing that we come back to with all this is that it's uncertain. It's very unclear as to what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. What we can say, however, is with absolute certainty is last week was a very interesting week. And for the case of Erik Ten Hag trying to be the Manchester United manager moving forward, I guess that becomes a little bit murkier after the last week because we could and should have had 9 points from Brentford, Chelsea and Liverpool. We lost 7 points in the last 10 minutes of 3 matches. Against Brentford, it was a 99th minute equaliser. Against Chelsea, it was a 96th minute goal, and then it was a 97th minute winner from Cole Palmer. And yesterday, it was an 85th minute penalty kick from Mohamed Salah. So what we can say there, guys, is that last week was almost a very good week for us, and it was a week that could have put us in to the top 4 or put us right back into that conversation. I think 6 or 7 points probably puts us a point behind Aston Villa, I think it is, and we're right in there. As it stands, we're a very, very long way off, and there's not going to be any Champions League football next season. What is that going to mean to Erik Ten Hag? Well, I guess we don't know. One thing is for certain, if it was Glazer ownership, we would know exactly what that would mean for Erik Ten Hag, and that could be him getting sacked as manager, because that is the precedent and that is the track record of Ed Woodward, of Joel Glazer, of even Richard Arnold as well. So that's what we're working with. That's the presumptions we're working with. Are Radcliffe and Ineos going to take the view, and are they going to look at it and say, look, Eric, it's been a very poor season, but we have faith in you to be the manager. We want to give it to you going forward. It's a question that I don't think we can really answer at this moment, and I think it will become more and more clear between now and the end of the season. I'm not too sure if anything's imminent. I don't think we're going to change the manager with 7 league matches and an FA Cup semi-final to go. We haven't changed after 17 or 18 defeats already this season. We're not going to change at this point, so we will be seeing the season out with Erik Ten Hag. But the question is, where does it go next? Where does it go after that? That is the real point of interest, and that's where the uncertainty is coming in at this moment in time. Look, I can give you my opinion. I can give you what I think is going to happen, and I don't think it's going to be Gareth Southgate being our manager, so we don't have to worry about that rather unfortunate future, and that could happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. Born is down below. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in today, Born. And guys, get voting on the poll, because I'm interested to know what you guys think about yesterday's result. 2-2 against Liverpool. Was it a case of, yeah, going into the match, I absolutely would have took a point. I think at halftime, would you have took, most people would probably have took a point being a goal down. Do you look at it and say we were winning with 5 or 10 minutes to go and we dropped 2 points? Or do you say we got lucky to get anything out of that match in the first place? We didn't have a shot in the first half. I think all those things are true. I think going into the match I would have took a point. I think at the 80th minute, I think we should have went on to win that match. And if it wasn't for a very clumsy tackle that gave the referee the opportunity to give a penalty kick against us, we probably go on to win that match. But I can also say we got lucky in yesterday's match too, because ultimately we had one shot in the entire first half. We had about 3 shots on target the entire match, and some of the football we played was very, very poor. I think all those things can be true. Hello to Rajat, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Anyway, look, on that poll, 50% say they're happy enough at the moment, 40% say 2 points dropped, 10% say, yeah, look, we got lucky yesterday. I think all of them are true. I think in their own ways they're all true, and I think if you put them together, they're all true. But what does that mean for Erik Ten Hag? I guess that means uncertainty, because he did well yesterday to get out with anything, judging by that first half performance. He also has dropped another 2 points this week. 7 points out of 9 have been dropped from winning positions in the last few minutes of a match. And at the same time, we had 1 shot on goal in the first 50 minutes, and it was from the halfway line. Like that is the top and bottom of the story. So I think all those things are true, and I do think that spells questions and raises more questions than what it answers for Erik Ten Hag. I think that's going to mean more uncertainty about his job and his future, and certainly I do think that change is coming in some way, shape or form. I think looking at the way things are going, I cannot see Erik Ten Hag being our manager next year, and that's my opinion. I just don't think we're going to see it. I really, really don't. And I'm open to anything. I know that the plethora, there's no one who I would say is on an Erik Ten Hag level at Ajax before he came into Manchester United that we realistically could go out and get at this moment in time. There's probably not that manager out there. So it's one of those, do you see it as a downgrade if you go out there and get someone at this point, or are you comparing it to what Erik Ten Hag is now as opposed to what he once was? Because those are all different questions. Bad Time says, why am I not running at 7 p.m? Yeah, nobody. I said I was doing my live at 7, and then I would have to go for the run afterwards. But it's not an actual run. Don't worry, buddy. I wouldn't do that there to myself. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't do that to myself. Anyway, you know, when we look at it from the point of view, if you look at the cold hard numbers, guys, 31 matches played in the league this season, 15 wins, 4 draws, 12 defeats. Like, we have minus goal difference with 7 matches left this season. Aston Villa are 11 points clear of us and we played a game less. Tottenham are 11 points clear with the same amount of matches played. There's no Champions League football this season. I don't think we're in a Conference League spot as things stand, but the coefficients might change that. So I'm looking at it from those kind of facts. Bath time, am I open to 6 a.m. 6k runs? Absolutely not, buddy. Daniel's on there. Thing is, no other manager comes in, they won't get the players, and why would they come? I mean, you have to think it gets better. I think the positivity that I still do feel about the club is about what we could be and not about what we are or the direction in which we are trending at this moment. Liman said we need another manager. It's as simple as that. Any other player would have scored that Bruno goal. I don't think they would have. David De Gea wouldn't have scored it. I'm joking. I don't think most players would even attempt it, to be honest. I really don't. Anyway, look, on that poll, I think everyone is kind of going for that they're happy enough with the point. I think going into it, we would have took the point. I think if you turned around to me when I woke up yesterday and said, look, would you take a point? Yeah. At halftime, when you were a goal down, would you have took a point? Yeah. Did we still drop 2 points? Yeah, we did. That's also a fact. And we also did get lucky. We didn't have a shot until something like the 55th minute of the match. So, Bad Time goes, it's incredible how sustainable our football actually is. A -1 goal difference over 31 games is incredible. Yeah, it's one of those, man. Like, I think the only other team in the top half with a minus goal difference is West Ham. Yeah, I mean, even Chelsea have a positive goal difference. It might be 3, but it's still positive. So yeah, I mean, when you're scoring 45 goals in 31 matches and conceding 46, it's gonna happen. It really is. Anyway, look, I think if we look at actually what has been said today in this Fabrizio Romano interview that I was reading through earlier on. Some of it is interesting. He says Ineos want to give some time to Erik Ten Hag, but they're keeping their managers open and having positive discussions. I mean, I know it sounds kind of counterproductive to say, like, let's just ignore what Romano says, but he was very adamant that Jean-Claude Blanc was about to be made CEO. I'm not too sure what his inside scoop is going to be like on Ineos, to be honest, based upon the track record there. But look, we'll see what happens. I'm sure at the minute it's probably going to be open-minded from Ineos because they haven't got the people in yet to make those calls. They would have wanted Ashworth in, they would have wanted Wilcox in, and they would have wanted Barada in by this point in time. And I think they're still going to wait on those guys' opinions and their say-so and their ultimate decision on this one. Bath Time says, imagine playing 2.7k minutes and the overall is basically a 0 goal difference. It's pretty shocking, man. Rajat goes, Manu overhyped. I don't have so much data because he's only playing 6 months, so can't tell, no idea. No, he's not overhyped. Like, Kobe Manu is a very good player at this minute in time, and I think what you have to contextualize is that he's played less than 20 matches in his career. So the sky is the limit. It's about how do we get there in a way that we're not burning him out, in a way that he's managed, and in a way that he manages to grow and develop as a player. Because it's not like he's the finished article yet. He's not at that level yet. He's got a long way to go, and you need to nurture that kind of talent. You don't want to burn it out, and you don't want to be putting him in positions where he's going to struggle and he's going to get attention onto him. I think yesterday is one of the first matches I remember him genuinely having commentary pointing out a mistake that he had made, and it was something to do with the set pieces. Now, ultimately, the talking point is going to be the goal, but he's not scoring every week. It's not like if he does make a few mistakes that he's going to pop up with a banging goal like he did yesterday. So I hope for Manu's sake that he is managed. I think that's what we need to be doing. I got Jarl down there. What are Ineos? Fabrizio's as clueless as the rest of us. True, maybe. Bath Time's not as up to date on the meta journalist as Fabrizio still have the hype of being 100% correct and informed. I mean, Fabrizio's got quite a bit wrong in recent times, and I think it's because he's kind of built this aura that he is the ultimate man when it comes to all kind of football news. I think the most meta, if you want someone who, when they speak, it's just going to happen, it's probably David Ornstein. I think that's probably the best that you got at the minute because he doesn't speak all that often. It's not like Fabrizio putting 10 different tweets out, slightly reworded per day. Ornstein might write one article a week, and it might give you every single thing that's going to happen for the next month. You don't know these things. Liman is down there. What we're celebrating is denying Liverpool 2 points, ignoring the fact we just got 2 points from the possible 9. No, I'm not denying that at all. Like, I'm not ignoring that whatsoever. We could and should have had 9 points this week because we should have held on against Brentford. We completely capitulated in the last couple of minutes against Chelsea, and yesterday it was a sloppy tackle from Wan-Bissaka. Yes, there's not a lot of contact. There wasn't a lot of contact between Wan-Bissaka and Harvey Elliott, but what you have to remember is he gave him the excuse to go down, and it gave the referee the excuse to make that kind of decision. That's what they want. Jarl is down there. We've ruined Liverpool's chances to win the league, so doing that, but we're the most lucky club in the world against Liverpool. Kind of up there sometimes, man, honestly. Now McCabe says, unlucky not to win. Manu second Mick at times, and Liverpool unable to beat us in 3 attempts this year. Touch of luck here and there. We beat them 3 times. Happy enough. Yeah, look, it's like what I was saying earlier, guys. I think that we can have all those things, and I think all of them are true. And if you run down it in terms of an actual scenario, you'd probably be correct. Going into the match, I would have took a point. At halftime, I would have took a point. I don't think that's too controversial. You know, we went a goal down at halftime. We would have took a point in that situation. We did still drop 2 points. That is fact because we had 5 minutes plus out of time and we were winning, and then we drew the match. And at the same time, we got lucky because ultimately, what ended up happening was we had one shot in 55 minutes and it was a halfway line goal. So all those things are true, I think. Bad time. Do you remember the Mike Elliott LUHG guy that Fabrizio threatened to sue because he found Romano had accidentally published an unlisted video about Oli getting the sack when he hadn't been? Yeah, there was something about that, man. Honestly, I don't know, that guy is pretty interesting on back in the day on Twitter, but thankfully he supports Real Madrid now. Doesn't really talk about United. Look, Fabrizio said again, look, United's not talking to any managers at this point, but at the same time he then goes on to say United really like Nagelsmann and are considering him as a new manager. They might have to act fast because he could sign a new deal with the German national team or even return to Bayern Munich. So I feel like Fabrizio's not 100% sure what's going on. I think this kind of adds to the uncertainty. On one side, we got a real strong Ten Hag in cult, and the other side we got a real strong Ten Hag out cult. I think like the truth is always going to be somewhere in the middle. It's not everything we see on the pitch is not the fault of the manager, but everything on the pitch we see is not totally the fault of the players either. There's a mix. There's a balance. These kind of things there always is, and I think sometimes it does get oversimplified. You know, if you are for Erik Ten Hag not being the manager anymore, then you're pro player power, you're pro lazy players who don't want to turn up and want to put a minimum effort in and just be a bunch of mercenaries. But at the same time, if you want Ten Hag in, then all of a sudden, you know, you're accepting absolute mediocrity. So it's I always feel like the trade summer's in the middle. I think it always has been, but I'm not afraid to criticize the manager, and there has been times where I've seen people in the chat kind of going, yeah, look, you're completely bigging up these players. I'm just, it's not the case all the time. Bad time is down there. I missed that, sorry. Stephanie said, great poll question. Scousers again. Should have been a category choice. Yeah, probably should have put that in. Bourne said, there's flashes of good play. I don't believe it's the manager's fault for the way the players lose their head and concentration. Yeah, look, I would agree with that as well, Bourne. You know, individual moments like Wan-Bissaka jumping in yesterday when he probably didn't have to go to ground in the penalty box, that's on him. I think it's the same last against Chelsea with Dalot, and I think that has been the case several times this season. Whenever you have a player who makes a clear error, then that's going to be on the player. Whenever you have a player who loses his man at a corner kick, when you have a player who lets the ball bounce or lets the ball run behind him and the other team score, that's always going to be his fault. But whenever you are playing a system seemingly that gives you as much shots faced as Luton Town and Sheffield United, that's going to be in the manager. When you have scored 45 goals, conceded 46, and have a minus goal difference after 31 matches, you know, that's going to come down to the manager as much as the players, if anything else, because we should have adapted. And even if Ten Hag doesn't have the players to do what he wants to with this team, I think he has to adapt to what he has, because otherwise you get what we've had all season long. It's a team trying to play a system that seems to be impossible to function at times because we haven't got the personnel. And I guess that comes down to kind of like balancing and counteracts. Is the manager playing these tactics because of the personnel, or is the personnel deciding the tactics because of the players they are? You know, that's an interesting one to think about sometimes as well. Limman is on, sorry, Rajat, sorry, is saying it's about the manager, he needs to share the blame. Yeah, absolutely. We're doing Champions League watch along. I don't think so. Bath Tangos, I hate De Zerbi and I have no idea who modern managers. Modern managers, Bologna, buddy. If he views football and his style of football as a 2-7-2, although he uses usually a 4-2-3-1 or something like that. There is the standard setup. He sees it horizontally, if that makes sense, as opposed to vertically. Bad time McSauce or Casemiro for the Coventry game. I mean, I'll take McTominay. I actually think Casemiro was dreadful yesterday, and I think it took a lot for United Stand to come out and say that they think he's done, because normally they're one of the last to jump on that kind of thought train. But I don't know, like, if I go back a season ago, I was probably ranting and raving about how Casemiro has been very good for us all of last season. But certainly in the last 12 months, from about this time last year, there has been a big drop-off in the level of quality. Now, is that as much Casemiro's legs going, or was the lower defensive line the kind of lower intensity in the press and in terms of the distance being asked to cover last season, was that kind of masking some of the issues he had as well when it came to pace and mobility and losing out in tackles? I'm not too sure. I don't seem to remember him being so willing to give the ball away every single time he gets onto it last year, but at the same time, there probably is moments like that if we go back, and some of the yellow cards and the red cards he picked up last year might have come as a result of him stretching in for tackles that he can no longer reach. So I don't know. I think Casemiro's an interesting one. I'd probably start McTominay if you want my opinion on that about time, because I just think McTominay in the last couple of weeks has been playing pretty well. He's been very important for us all season, but I think even his just the standard level of performance that you get out of him is a little bit higher in the last few weeks and months. Now I've thought Jarl says Motta is an exciting manager. Manages Bologna in Italy, here on a Champions League spot today. He's also friends with Omar Barada. Yeah, he is. Matata, would I support Kane in Champions League? I really don't mind who wins the Champions League. I think I'd be a lot happier if it wasn't City. I don't want City to retain it, so like I don't care like if Madrid win it, or if Atletico win it, or PSG or Bayern, whatever. Yeah, I mean, so long as City don't retain. Bad time says sooner or later everyone comes around to McTominay. I think it's just comparing McTominay to what we've got. I think if there was if there was a clear player there who was playing absolutely out of his skin and would be what we need, yeah, I would say don't play McTominay. But I think you just got to make the best of what we've got, and that might be McTominay at the minute. You know, that's my opinion. Bad time, we're going from a team that is not vertically compact to one that is not horizontally compact. I can't wait to see Rashford not running across the pitch instead of up it. Jarl said Mod is out of contract in December, and he wouldn't cost anything to get. Juve once. Yeah, I think AC Milan want him as well. But yeah, I mean, I like Mod. I like the kind of formation that he does play. It's really an interesting watch, to be fair. The way Bologna build up, because a lot of it is kind of risk adverse as well. You know, they will want to control a match before they'll focus on going out and actually attacking. Now, I'm not sure that's because of the personnel that they've got at the back or anything. I know they've got some good players in there. I know Xerxes doing really well. I know Lewis Ferguson's doing pretty well. Steph says we're up to 18 likes as well. Big ups for that as well, guys. Who have I got? Stephanie Casemiro was a destroyer, but got unluckily booked for a great proper tackle yesterday. Still a goal threat, but his passing is woeful, as is Bruno's. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Like, you know, some semblance of control in the middle of the pitch would be nice at times, but we want to play vertically instead. And seemingly the rule is start every match as if we're a goal down with 2 minutes left on the clock sometimes. Bad time said the only midfield Casemiro was destroying is ours. Rajad, he used to play at 2-8-1. Yeah, but it wasn't that he was playing 2 centre backs and 8 midfielders. It's when he's talking about 2-7-2, he means that you've got a 2, which is your left hand side, then you've got a 7 in the middle, which is your goalkeeper. It's going to be your it's going to be your back 2, so that's your centre backs. That's 3. Then you have 3 midfielders, which is 6, and then the striker is number 7, and then you've got another 2 on the other side. Rosette goes, do we need to get a Rodri type? I mean, I wouldn't mind. I think we could do with someone like that. I think Rodri's a really interesting player because you're seeing an evolution in his own game. He's not a pure number 6 anymore. He very much is a jack of all trades in the best way possible for City. You know, he is getting forward now. He is getting more shots off now. He is carrying the ball more now. Stephanie says, why is Ahmad not getting game time? I really don't know, Steph. Like, I really don't. You would think that getting a moment like he did against Liverpool in the last match in the FA Cup would probably give him some kind of game time. I know, obviously, he would have been suspended for the Brentford match, but he could have played against Chelsea. Could have played yesterday. I think we could have done with him yesterday as well. And I know Garnacho's playing well there, Rajat, but I think even whenever we took Garnacho off yesterday and put Bruno on the left-hand side, we couldn't really get out of our own half as well. We didn't have that threat in behind, to hit the space. Bruno is many things, but he's not going to burst past man. He's not going to run into space and run in behind. Dark Crow is not being in the Champions League a good or bad thing in terms of development. I mean, I don't think it really matters in terms of development because, we wouldn't be winning any Champions League next year. But at the same time, it could also be bad for development if it means that our transfer budget is a lot more constrained and not as big as what it could be. We still have to balance the books. We see Everton got a second points deduction as well today. So, these are things that the club will be watching out for. So I'm sure that we'll find a way to spend as much money as we can in the summer. But with Champions League, it could be a lot easier, I guess. Big ups and 20 likes as well, guys. Much appreciated. Lucky Singh down there. Ahmad, you need to play the next game. Anthony should play next to Hoyland. I mean, I think Anthony was okay. I don't think it was anything. I don't think it was spectacular, but I don't know. Jarl is saying I think Arsenal is going to destroy Bayern, who's lost their last 2 games. Yeah, I mean, I watched Bayern Munich against was it Heidenheim. I mean, Bayern were 2 up at halftime. Away to Heidenheim and somehow lost the match 3-2. I mean, I wouldn't really fear Bayern Munich too much. We give them a game home and away. That's the level we're talking about. If we can show up and score 3 past them at the Allianz Arena, Arsenal will beat them. I've no doubt about that in my opinion. And it could be Arsenal City in a Champions League semi-final. It could be Arsenal Madrid. We don't know what's going to happen there. Rajad, am I doing a watch along tomorrow or today? An IP. Oh, lucky. He's asking lucky there. Sorry. Jarl says Ahmad and Pellistri going to be sold in summer. I think Pellistri gets sold. I'm not too sure, but Ahmad could say it. I could see them taking the opinion that they want to go because I think Ahmad Diallo's 21 or 22 at this point. I think Pellistri is 21 as well. So they're kind of at the point where they'll want more regular first team minutes to develop, and they're not bad players to sell. I think Ahmad's the better talent, but I don't think Pellistri's anything overly special to be honest. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind selling them if a decent bid came in the summer. Matata talking about butter chicken for some reason. Steph says as soon as Garnacho was subbed against Chelsea, we lost the outlet. Yeah, look, you just lose that threat in behind, and even if he's not getting on the ball, Garnacho being there and in and around there is going to take a player away from the Chelsea attack because they have to cover it. Rajad said Anthony versus Chelsea was very good. Yeah, he was good against Chelsea. Bourne said I believe fixing United is more than the manager. And he was in a proper review of every department. For example, why are players getting injured for just sneezing? Yeah, no, that's definitely going to have to come down to it because if you don't have a settled back four, if you don't have understandings and relationships across the pitch, then that's not going to bode well for you out on the pitch because a lot of what the players will be doing out there and need to be doing out there is understanding and trusting one another on the pitch. So yeah, if you can't build up that relationship with your own teammates, then that's always going to be a problem. You've got a new goalkeeper this season for the first time in 11-12 years, and he hasn't had the same back four in front of him more than one time consecutively. Your forward line's constantly changing. Your midfield's constantly changing. You've got players coming in, players going out, young players starting, young players coming through the academy and dropping out of the team, going on loan. It's a lot of chopping and changing. There hasn't been much consistency across the board this year. Bath time, sometimes I worry large language models become indistinguishable from real people, and then I read a United chat and think we're safe. No one can replicate this. Yeah, that's also true. That is true. I mean, some of it's kind of concerning. Like, I mean, if you watch some of the videos that are coming out at the minute, from what is it? Is it Sora? I think it's Sora AI. Like, some of it is genuinely frightening in terms of what it can actually do. Steph says we're up to 21 likes. Yes, guys, drop a like if you haven't already. Rajat said Dan Garnacho was given man of the match, and then Chelsea scored a fourth goal. Yeah. I think Cole Palmer got the official man of the match. I don't know why TV channels like do man of the match 20 minutes early. Like I just don't get it. Anyway, I guess we'll have a look at some of the other stuff that's been said today. Fabrizio Romano says When Ineos took over, a lot of figures at United believe in Evan Ferguson and he could be a perfect player for the future. I mean, Ferguson's been pretty bad for the last 6 months or so. I don't know if that takes his price tag down any. Um, but I don't know. I just can't get behind the idea of having a 21-year-old striker and a 19-year-old striker. I just don't think that's sustainable. I want different profiles out there. I might tolerate Xerxes because I think he's more experienced. I think he's played a lot of minutes in the last season or so for Bologna, and I think that as a profile he's different to Højlund. But nah, I don't think Ferguson's the one. Not for the price that could come for it. Bath Time Claude 3 is the one that's going to pick up steam in the next few months. Yeah, I've kind of used some of the AI. I don't know if you know Poe at all. It's I think it's like Quora do. It's like a collection of like different AIs, and it's even the difference in like Claude. If you're talking Claude 3, you're talking about, I think Sonnet's another one. There's 100k, 200k. They seem to be a lot more advanced and seem to work a lot better than even the ChatGPT models, which seem to have lost some of their intelligence at some point. I don't know, but it's an interesting one anyway. Like Bath Time, sorry, not Bath Time, Rajat, sorry. White Target Mbappe, get this one. Maybe we get Mbappe. I doubt it though. I doubt it. I really do. Anyway, what have we got here? Todibo will cost around 40 million, apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano. I think that's frustrating because, like, you're technically selling to yourself, but you have to abide by these financial rules, and we have to pay the fair market valuation of what a player of Todibo would be. So around 35-40 million is probably fair enough for that. I don't know if he's perfect for it. I think if you went into next season with Todibo and, say, hypothetically, Lisandro Martinez managed to get fit again and was able to start week in, week out, I think you've got a real lack of physicality in there. I think Varane is a lot of things, but I think one thing that he certainly is a very good box defender in terms of his aerial duels, his strength in the air. I don't think you want to lose that. I think you want to improve upon it. And I think when you look at the amount of goals we concede from set pieces, it's not just down to the organisation, it's also down to individual player quality in terms of winning their duels. That time, there's been a new 66k token storytelling one released last week, but I don't have 64 gig of RAM to check it out. I think George R.R. Martin is trying to shut it down because he's already finished his book series. You're gonna have to tell me what this what is that one, buddy? What's the name of it? I know that there's like there's a Twitter one at the minute called Grog, and it seems to be really like weird. Some of the responses that comes, like, I wouldn't expect anything less from Elon Musk either. Guys, big ups in 22 likes. Yeah, actually, I want to get talking about what Rajat just mentioned. It's brought me down to a player who I wanted to talk about. It's Willy Kambwala. I think he's been very good. I don't think that's like anything revolutionary. You're probably saying, Stefan, like, what are you talking about? Obviously, he's been very good. But I think I've been impressed with him. I think, in the academy, there was always the opinion of Willy Kambwala that he was very technically good, but his physical levels are very good as well. And if he can manage to keep himself fit, he could be a player that saves us a lot of money, because there's no doubt about the talent is there. The mentality seems to be good with the player as well. I think he was pretty solid yesterday, all things considered. He was unlucky to pick up a yellow card, and I think his overall game has been good. But I'm impressed. I am impressed. And I think some of the quotes we're seeing out from him, some of the stuff we're seeing from him on the pitch, yeah, I've been impressed with Kambwala, and I think he could be even better if it wasn't for the fitness levels that he had in the academy. He probably would be even further on. An interesting point as well that people have been talking about is physical adaptation as well. Very, very strong player, very quick player. We've seen some of his recovery runs yesterday, very, very quick, and that's what we need. We do lack that kind of pace. So Kambwala, very impressed with him yesterday. Very happy with his couple of appearances so far. I think he's not without fault. He's not without. It's not that his performances have been perfect, but there's clearly something there. There's clearly a diamond in the rough, perhaps, and it's maybe something to watch out for. Maybe try to develop over time as well. Lucky's down there. Maguire is mature and keeps running. Look, I'm sure we'll keep Harry Maguire in the team for the minute. Matata says we're not talking about the Glazers. Have you not noticed? I used to tell you it was distraction tactics and it's working. Yeah, but the thing is, as well, mate, the Glazers were never really talked about as much mid-season. It's always been a transfer window type of thing. It's always been, whenever the market's been there, that's when we start to question the Glazers more. At the minute, the constant stream of press attention and fan attention has been and will be on the football for the most part. That's kind of the way things have went. People say, yeah, United only protest against the Glazers when they're losing, but I mean, I don't know. I think we've been protesting for a long time against them. Jarl says, I think Kambuala stays and will be a challenge to be started next season. Solid on the ball, one touch pass, and also the guy is fast. I think, yeah, his physical adaptation is very good. His strength, his speed, it's kind of what you want from a United centre back. It's kind of what we've been missing as well. And I've no threat or no worry really about the thought of Kambuala starting the next match. I think up next we play Bournemouth. I think he'd be going up against Solanke in that match. I mean, yeah, I would be happy enough with that if that indeed does pan out to be so. Like, I've been happy with him, and I've been pretty happy with Maguire yesterday as well. I didn't think he was that bad, all things considered. Have we got any more thoughts down below, guys? Maybe we'll have a look at the poll results. Yeah, it's pretty split vote, actually. 38% saying they're happy enough with the point. 38% again are saying 2 points drop, and 23% are saying we got lucky on the day. I think, like I said earlier, I think all are true. Lucky feels happy about Bournemouth. Bournemouth spanked us last time. Like, it was 3-0, but I think if it wasn't for a very tight offside right at the end, they would have beat us 4-0. And that for me was, a very hard match to watch as well. I remember watching it on here on the channel. I think Semenyo kind of ran us ragged as well for most of that game. Lucky wants to see Harry Maguire and Casemiro talking to him. I think he's benefiting from having Maguire alongside him. I think Maguire's probably been talking him through the matches as well, giving them advice, which is good. That's what you want to see. Big ups and 23 likes as well. Much appreciated, guys. But yeah, I'm happy with Kambuala. I am. And hopefully we get to see some more of him between now and the end of the season, and perhaps over pre-season as well. Anyway, I guess what we'll do is have a look at some of the other quotes that have come out from today. I think we can ignore this one. It's coming from one of these Twitter ITK accounts. I don't think we're going to see Gareth Southgate as Manchester United manager, because I don't think he's going to leave England. I think it's a very cushy job for him. I think it's a good job for Gareth Southgate to have if you are Gareth Southgate. Maybe not so much if you are an England supporter. But I don't think he's going to be the manager of United. I don't think we have to stress about that. I think there's a far more real possibility that Graham Potter becomes the manager. And whether that's something that scares you or worries you, that might be something else to contend with, because you do have those Ashworth links. You do have the public admiration from Sir Jim Radcliffe for Graham Potter, and you also have Potter turning down the Ajax job this week seemingly as well, which you would think after 12 months or so out of the game, a job like Ajax could be a really good place for Graham Potter. So obviously he's fancying himself for a bigger job, or he's not deeming it the right job for him, which is a really interesting one, and it's definitely going to be one to keep an eye out on. I don't think Graham Potter's what we need. Personally, I don't think he inspires me too much, but I would also say as well that Graham Potter's probably a better manager than what we give him credit for. It was an impossible situation, all things considered, at Chelsea for him, in that he walked into a team after a summer that had just brought a lot of players in that Thomas Tuchel would have had some kind of influence on, coming to work with Todd Bowley, and ultimately he just could never get it to work. Jarl said Southgate did say it's not in the cards for him to be the manager. I think he says England manager. Yeah, I think he does as well. And whether or not he should have won something as the England manager, I guess only an England fan could tell you. But to me, from the outside looking in, you look at that World Cup 2018 semi-finals. Yeah, though, that's probably as far as that England team could have went. should have won that Euro 2020/21 because that's when it was played. They should have won that. They should have went further in the last World Cup, and then they go out and they're going to play in this European Championship. And there definitely is a real correlation between England winning their matches that they should do, which gets them so far in these tournaments and gets them so far in qualifying, and then all of a sudden they made a good team and they lose. You know, I'm sure if we go back and look at England results over the last 12 months, going back to the World Cup, they probably won every match except for Brazil and Belgium. Probably the only two good teams they played in the last 12 months. So that's probably the case if I go back and look at it here. Lucky says as well, De Zerbi out, stay away. Lucky is not looking. De Zerbi. I know if Bath Time's still in the comments, he doesn't want De Zerbi either, and that's for completely different reasons. I think it's about the fullbacks. Anyway, some other quick little bits to bring you from Romano. Elisa is really appreciated at United even before Ineos arrived. He will be a target for sure. The budget for left back isn't decided. United are planning to sign one regardless of Sean Malassia's specific situation. Names will be identified soon, apparently. I'm sure United already know who they're going to go for at this point. Signing João Neves is an interesting one. A midfielder with a very high price tag is exceptionally unlikely in this summer transfer window. Don't think it takes a genius. You know, we did a lot of work done and a lot of players to be brought, so I don't think we're going to take a risk on an 18-year-old midfielder for £100 million. I just can't see us doing that. And to be honest, I would be slightly worried if we did do that, if we went and blew the entire budget on João Neves when we only have Willie Kambwala and Harry Maguire at the minute as fit centre backs. We haven't had a left back in months. We have one striker in the team. We have one left-footed centre back. You know, I think we shouldn't be spending that much money on João Neves, regardless of how good he might be. I think we just got to fill out this team with the players we need first of all. That's just my opinion. We might do something completely different, but that's what I think we got to do. You know, that's what I think we should be doing. Anyway, was there something else Romano had said? Yes, Casemiro. This is an interesting one because Casemiro costs us £300,000 per week and we're still paying his contract off. So it would take us, I believe, in the region of £75 to £80 million to fully complete the Casemiro contract and pay off the remaining instalments. Now, there has been interest from Saudi clubs in Casemiro for a while now, but no contract offer has yet been made, but the interest is there, so that's an interesting one. Maybe that's something to keep an eye on this summer. I think Varane goes for sure, but I also think Casemiro is a very real candidate to be sold. Big ups to Bart for joining in. Good to see you, man. Thanks very much for joining in with us tonight. How's everything going with you, man? And guys, thanks very much for 23 likes as well. Much appreciated on today's stream. Anyway, Lucky is looking to sell both McTominay and Casemiro. I think I wouldn't argue too much against that. I think it's more likely we sell Casemiro first, but anything could happen. Anything might happen. We don't quite know yet. Bart says the problem with this side is not raising their game for facing big teams like Liverpool or City, but to do it on a consistent basis. If you continue to buy young, you have to accept inconsistency. Exactly. It's one of those, you know, every team and the best teams need a balance, right? Nobody is going to dispute that at Manchester City, Phil Foden and Erling Haaland are two of the very best players to have. But they're also two players who are 21 or 22 apiece. Can you have a full team of players, all very young, talented players, and expect consistency week in, week out from them? You can't. You look at Chelsea, they've got a lot of young players to that team. They're so inconsistent. They showed a lot of spirit to come back and beat us. Ultimately, we made it very easy for them on the night. But and then they go out at the weekend and they draw 2-2 with Sheffield United, who might be one of the worst Premier League teams of all time. You know, you look at famous generations of young players coming through at United. You look at the class of '92, for instance. It wasn't that team overnight became Giggs and Scholes, the Neville brothers, Beckham, Nicky Butt. You know, that didn't happen overnight. You know, and that team still had Brian Robson. That team still had Roy Keane, Steve Bruce, Gary Palliser, Eric Cantona, Peter Schmeichel. So yeah, you want to have experience. I think the problem with us is that we get tied into the notion that just because a player has been experienced and has won things in their career, in the case of a Casemiro, for instance, that they're still at that level. I think that is something that we've been concerned about, and I think that is something to come in with. And it doesn't give me any joy to say we need to move Casemiro on, but I think it's the realistic situation that we're looking at here. Outside of his trophies, I don't think he offers this team what we need to from a number 6, and that's that's a concern for a player you're paying £300,000 a week for. Massively concerning. Anyway, Bart says United haven't beat Newcastle since the League Cup final last year, and the latter does have at least 4 players that can immediately strengthen United's first 11. I mean, yeah, they got players who would start for us, absolutely. Guimaraes would start for us, in my opinion. I don't know. I doubt Trippier does at this moment in time, but Botman probably gets into our team. Isak could end up in the team. You know, so there are players there as well. Steph says City have a team ethic and their players want to win trophies, not just get top 4. Yeah, absolutely. But you know, at the same time, it's their ownership as well hasn't just wanted to get top 4. Their ownership has wanted to win trophies and be the best. Now, whether or not they've cheated to do it, I think they have, and I think they will eventually get caught for it. But you know, that drive and that determination to be that kind of team was there from the get go. Jarl says if Newcastle beat us, they go above us in the league. We can't have that, so we need to win. I mean, yeah, we want to win these matches. I don't think there's any guarantee that we do. I don't know if it's going to have any real significance on our season as a whole if we do or not. Like, I think it might be at the point now where we're going to finish 6th, 7th, or 8th this season. I don't think we finish top 5. I don't think we can. We're 11 points off with 7 matches left. Yeah, we got a game in hand on Aston Villa, but even at that, there's no guarantee whatsoever. Lucky says Vlahovic is a striker I would like. Nah, I think Vlahovic is having a pretty good season for Juve, but he's not the one for me, to be honest. I mean, he could be a decent player for us, but nah, not enough. I don't know, just he doesn't really inspire me with a lot of confidence at the minute. Dusan Vlahovic, and no slide on him. I just don't think he's the player for us. Anyway, on today's poll, 37% were happy enough with the point yesterday. 41% say, yeah, look, it's 2 points drop. We should have won that one. And 22% say, yeah, look, we got lucky. We didn't have a shot until the 55th minute. And even at that, we scored our first goal from the halfway line. And the second goal was scored by Manu. An unbelievable finish that he might not score again. Or, you know, it's not like these are sustainable goals. I think that's what a lot of people are probably thinking as well. Look, guys, I think we're going to leave the stream here. So thanks so much for joining in tonight. A little bit shorter, but I'm feeling pretty tired today anyway. It's been a long day. I've got some stuff to go do now anyway. So thanks so much for watching. Really, really do appreciate it as always. And I'll catch everyone in the next one.